Oops. Okay.
This is this. Okay, you can go ahead and start. This is this time I almost got arrested. This one story, oddly enough, begins in a philosophy class, and it's actually an ethics class. I was trying to decide whether I wanted to take the 8 a.m. class or the 11 a.m. class, and at that time I was not quite as much of, I'm really not a morning person anyway, but I'm less of a morning person. So I was trying to decide between the two. So I went to both of them the first day. And I ended up deciding the 11 a.m. class because it was a little more outgoing, and I would have had to wake up, 3 hours later that day, those 2 days. So I took the 11 a.m. class, and in that class there was 3 guys, and I'm kind of a second row guy. I don't like to sit in the front row, don't like to sit in the back row, I like to sit in the middle rows. So, but in the back, there was 3 rows in this class. There was 3 guys in the back. They were BJ, which that was short for Black Josh, because that was his nickname on the dorm floor. Then there was Poof, and that was short for his last name, Poofall, which you may not know this, but in Australia, Poof is a gay slur that's really bad, like really bad. It's short for Poof Ta, but he knew this, but it's just his last name. And the other one was Jerome. Now, they were all roommates, and they had a 4th roommate who wasn't in the class. I never got to know that guy very well, but anyway, Jerome I haven't really talked to. I think he lives in Kansas City. Poof, we're still Facebook friends. He's living, I believe, in St. Louis area. And BJ today is a lawyer in Minneapolis area, and he's been divorced twice. But anyway, so throughout the semester, I got to know them pretty decently well. And then at the end of the semester, or in the middle of the semester, they said, hey, we're going to have a party at our house. Do you want to come? So I said, sure, I'll come. So I went to the party, and we became friends. And then after the semester's over, we decided we were going to go to Field House one night. Now, Field House was the place where all the fraternity and sorority people would hang out, and there was always fights afterwards. The police would line up in the street right at closing time, and they'd start arresting people. Well, I was just trying to leave. Jerome didn't go to that, but Poof and BJ were there with me. So I was getting ready to leave, and there was a fight going on outside, and I was trying to walk around the fight to reconnect with them because one of them was my ride. And one of the people in the fight grabbed me and pushed me in the street. And it turns out they grabbed me and pushed me into the street into a female police officer. Well, so then they put me in handcuffs in the middle of the street. I was standing there in the middle of the street in handcuffs. There's my street. And they were like, what's this fight about? Why are you fighting? I was like, I didn't have anything to do with this. I'm just trying to leave. And Poof was kind of upset that I was pointing at him because he didn't, he probably shouldn't have been driving. But anyway, so eventually they let me go because I had nothing to do with it, and they had bigger issues to deal with. People were actually fighting and were still fighting, and then they arrested those people. But this got me thinking, the moral of the story is, if I hadn't taken the 8 a.m. class or 11 a.m. class, hadn't met BJ, Poof, and Jerome, I wouldn't have ended up at the Field House, and I wouldn't have almost gotten arrested. So small changes in your life can have big consequences later. Now, once again, I didn't get arrested. This is just a funny story, but that's my story about small things can have big consequences later in life, and that's my story.
Cool.
All right, so what did you learn